Hello, hello, hello. So we have a video. Oh, look how red. Look at this tomato man. Look how red this tomato man is. Anyway, I did a video recently where I was kind of wailing on Jordan Peterson, and some people were saying, "Oh, you're being too harsh. You're not being nice enough." Blah blah blah. So I'm gonna not do that. I'm not gonna be any nicer, but I'm gonna give him a chance to redeem himself because I heard some people saying that this video, Peterson was at his best. He was acting a little better than he normally does. But I'm looking at this tomato face, and it looks like he's about to cry on camera again, right? So I'm not sure how things are gonna go. But let's get into it. I'll try to be fair. I'll try to be measured. I'll be open-minded, shit like that, right? Let's see what he has to say.
There's a bit of darkness that happens.
1 second. It's coming through my other speaker.
It has to be incorporated into men before they can mature, before they can stop being children.
And the fact interest period of his ultra virtue-seeking
We don't want to ruin all of
policies
it.
and cratering polls. Conservative Pierre Poilievre,
We don't care about this
great
guy.
wrestler with God, co-founder of the Peterson Academy.
He looks
joins
so
me
red.
Now,
What the
Jordan,
hell?
great to see you again.
Hey, Pierce, nice to see you.
He doesn't look well. This guy does not look well. He looks. That was very somber appraisal. You're on TV. You should be a little more emphatic. But okay, maybe he's physically not well.
For those who haven't kept up with what's happening in Canada, just very quickly bring us up to speed, because it seemed a few months ago that
We're gonna
Trudeau
speed it up a little
was
bit.
going, and there was no way in God's hell's chance of the Liberals winning the next election in a few weeks because of the damage that Trudeau had done. But there's been a political change, driven mainly, I think, from what's been happening in America.
Yeah, well, it's two factors, I would say. I mean, it's certainly the case that Canadians had decided after 10 years of Trudeau and absolutely dismal economic performance and an increasingly fractious and uncertain country that the sunny days globalist liberals had their run and deserved to be annihilated. And that's exactly what...
I kind of disagree with his perspective, and the conservatives always do this. They're like, America is fed up and tired of corruption, and we're fed up and tired of the shitty economics of Biden and his massive economic and societal leadership failures, and na. It's very patronizing, honestly. But I don't think it's accurate. I don't think people exist in this, like... I don't think the conservatives or Trump exist as some answer to a revolutionary, like, fed upness. And it's a very political take. It's like, America's fed up with and yeah, but they gobble up Trump even when he's, like, clearly Zionist and clearly pro-establishment now. So no, I don't think people are sentient enough to actually have this rebellious perspective, and it's not going to be through some stupid conservative goober like Pierre Poilievre, who's fine. He's nothing wrong with the guy, but he's just another politician. There's only so much he can do. And it looks like this Mark Carney guy actually has a chance of getting in. Like, people actually might vote for this stupid Mark Carney guy. So it's almost like too generous to Canada to say that, oh, they're fed up and they're you're about to get it, mister. You're about to get it. America's fed up with your bullshit and we're going to elect a conservative. Oh, no. It's just like, shut up.
what was going to happen. They were facing an electoral defeat so profound that they might have lost their official party status. And that was necessary. The West is divided against the East because of the West's dependence on fossil fuel, while the whole Canadian economy's dependence on fossil fuel.
The whole world.
Green liberals' insistence that can't proceed and that somehow some new magical economy...
Liberals attack
will
liberals.
make everyone twice as rich and the air is stellar and clean. And then two things happened. Trudeau resigned and Trump started his saber rattling in the United States, particularly in relationship to Canada, although not uniquely. And Canadians have often united in the face of American expansionism. It's a historical trend, and it's also the case that Canadians have
yeah,
the
that's
ability to pride
kind
themselves
of true. Yeah, Canadians get off to like shaming American expansionism. We're not like America with their fossil fuels in there. No. Yeah, we get off on this stupid moral high ground.
on being morally superior to the United States. And
Yeah, that's true.
Any excuse is good enough to go down that road. And then the
very
Liberals
gay.
also, being relatively instrumental and canny, decided that they would install a new leader, coronate him, and now we have a prime minister who's only been selected by about 130,000 Canadians. And the real issue here is, Pierce, I think that older Canadians who are likely to prefer Carney believe that he's a return to the stability, let's say, of the period between, well, even the post-war period, but particularly between 1990 and 2010. You know, Carney's a banker.
It's kind of fun. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like the signs of corruption and the signs of like dangerous corporate elitism is actually an appealing return to tradition for these boomers, because these boomers have been so indoctrinated intergenerationally that they have a nostalgia for the older form of evil and corruption, where it was like a slimy pedophile politician. They're like, remember the good old days when the corrupt politicians were slimy banker globalist Klaus Schwabian elites who touched kids? Yeah, now we have to deal with trans activists and liberals. That's really what it is it's like the elite are being served up to the Canadian people under a new guise by taking advantage of boomers. Because boomers think of like traditional media, they think of like, oh, remember legacy media where it was definitely not corrupt and it was much better than the wacky bullshit we have today. But what they don't realize is that both systems were corrupt. One was just not exposed. Like before 2020, it wasn't common knowledge that the government was corrupt. It wasn't common knowledge that conspiracy theories were real. You were just called a crazy conspiracy theorist person. Now everyone has distrust for the government. Everyone's skeptical. And now the whole system has kind of lost its credibility. But back in the day, back when boomers ran America and it was the 1980s and we had legacy media, it was still corrupt, except that corruption wasn't on full display. So it's almost like we're trying to put the turtle back in its shell. We're trying to put the pin back in the grenade with this Mark Carney guy, where the boomers are longing for a figurehead to represent the cloaked, shrouded form of corruption, where it's hidden behind this clean facade of a banker, as opposed to being crazed and out in the open. It's like, we don't care about the corruption, just put a nice mask back on the corruption in the form of a clean-shaven politician, please. It's kind of funny. They prefer legacy media where the lies were served with a side of entrees instead of rammed down your throat in the form of a pill. It was quite funny. Because nobody really cares, and this is what I mean. It's just like all this rhetoric about, oh, Canadians are done with corruption. It's like, nope, not really. But it seems like the strategy is weaponize boomers and weaponize the aging population to impose a more Klaus Schwabian shadow elite, Rothschild, Milner Group version of corruption, as opposed to the radical, progressive, liberal types. Because they fell out of favor, basically, whenever they started pushing pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine stuff. That was really the moment the golem started to attack its master, quote-unquote, right? If you guys know that analogy. And then they realized, oh, this is not good for us. Our invention, this liberal apparatus in the media and the academia, it's actually gone out of control. We need to reel it back in. So that's what Mark Carney kind of represents. He represents the reeling back in of corruption, the reeling back in of demonic, chaotic corruption, and reforming it back into something clean and organized, as opposed to this demonic, chaotic, like liberal social justice rampage, which actually had benefits because it was going against Israel, which is like the established form of corruption. And then they're like, oh, whoa, we can't have that. Let's deport everyone from Columbia University, take away all their rights, and let's remove funding from these schools and pay $100 million to Trump to get him into office to crack down on anti-Semitism. Let's move back to the good old days where, your rights were being stolen from under your nose and it wasn't right in front of your face. It wasn't obvious. So they're trying to put like the snake back in the can, the lid back on the peanut butter jar, the bullet back in the gun, and they're just hoping they can make this all go away. And it might, because boomers are stupid and nostalgic, and they're weaponizing old boomer culture, and they're turning away from what used to be, because they used to appeal to young liberals. They used to appeal to like young social justice Zoomer chicks to like push their cause and come out to vote for like anti-abortion stuff. But now they're trying to appeal to like old boomers with this banker elite Fabian socialist guy.
Canadians think he's pro-free market. They think that he's pro-industry. They think that he's a genuine, old-style, stable, conservative, liberal type. And he looks the part, and he plays that, and that's how he puts himself forward. But the problem with that, sir, is that Carney is seriously bad news. Despite his international cachet and his lengthy CV and his term as Bank of England governor, that's all impressed Canadians and made them believe on the face of his CV that he's a competent person. But a little bit of investigation into what he believes and the scope of the oncoming disaster makes itself clear.
Yeah, but boomers are stupid. Boomers are stupid, and they will vote him in. The question is, it's a game of demographics. Will the boomers outvote the young liberal people? And unfortunately, we have an aging population, so they actually might.
5% of the world's
Also, there's a number of liberals that will just vote Mark Carney in just simply because he's liberal. Now, there's a strong movement to shame Mark Carney and shame the Liberal Party because they are because they're pro-Hamas or they're pro-Israel. There's some tension there, but there's a certain people will just vote in liberals just because of the color. They're not thinking about their politics. They're not really thinking about a particular issue that they're pressed on. A lot of people just vote a particular person because of the color. And we have to worry about all those voters too, who no amount of reason, no amount of critical thinking is really going to get to them. They're just going to pick whatever color they've traditionally voted, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Fossil fuels have to remain in the ground. He believes that every single financial decision that every individual makes in every company should prioritize decarbonization over every other consideration. Right? He was UN climate envoy, and he started a consortium of businesses that agreed really to be under the aegis of central planning because he believes the climate apocalypse narrative. And my sense is that entire narrative, and I mean entire, is nothing but the use of provocative and ill-founded fear to exercise a level of control over people that, well, we'll find unimaginable if it ever manages to manifest itself. And it's economically devastating.
Yep, that's true. Corrupt central planning idiots are trying to consolidate power. Yep, that's obviously true.
Your country's being devastated by the net zero idiocy, and one glance at Germany should convince anyone that that's a really bad path to walk down. And so Canadians are looking for security. They think that Carney's a 1990s guy like
Canadians are dumb
before, and they really don't. They haven't done.
You can't trust democracy. All these democratic countries. Look at what the fuck is happening to Germany. Germany can't pick itself out of its fucking stupid hole it's dug itself into. Neither can the UK. The UK and Germany and pretty much everywhere in Europe that has democracy is constantly fucking itself in the ass. It's shoving a dildo up its own ass, and there's nothing it can do about it. All the democracy in the world, all the I don't like immigration in the world isn't going to stop what's happening to it. That's the crazy part, is people in the UK already don't like immigration. They already don't like the way their country is going, and yet I say to them, don't you exist in a democracy? Aren't you supposed to be able to fix this by the consensus of the majority? If the vast majority of people don't like mass immigration, why the fuck do we have mass immigration? And to me, that's 100% proof that democracy is a lie. It doesn't work. And it's not real. Because there's certain issues that will never be solved, no matter how many people consensusly, in terms of majority, how strong the majority vote is in a particular direction. There's certain agendas that will never be moved or overturned because they're being propped up by elites in the quote-unquote deep state in these governmental positions that will simply not follow through on orders or not allow things to come to Congress or not allow things to receive a vote or present things in a different manner that presents some soft-shoed form of a reform, not the real thing. There's certain tools within the bureaucracy of the government that prevent things from actually getting fixed. This prevents any real change from meaningfully happening. It's a major problem with democracy. So look at UK, look at Germany. They're proof that even with all the democracy in the world and all the I don't like immigration, I don't like green energy, it doesn't matter. You're gonna fucking swallow it, bitch. You're gonna take all the green energy. You're gonna take all the fucking windmills we want. You're gonna take all the immigrants, and you're gonna like it, bitch. Nothing you can do about it. Democracy all you want. And yeah, it's the same with Canada. Ultimately, I don't care whether it's Mark Carney or whether it's Pierre Poilievre, because the elites are going to push their agenda regardless, and they're going to act through these politicians and enact their plan, their corrupt, evil plan regardless. And the only real difference is that a particular politician, whether they're conservative or liberal, are really like capacitors or conductors for different elites. So like a conservative politician is a better conductor for a more like a Republican conservative type of corruption or type of private interest, whereas a liberal is more conducive and conductive towards certain types of liberal corruption. But ultimately, it's the same cards being dealt from either side, which are both private interest, corrupt motives. The people never really get what they want. We're never going to see an end to immigration. We're never going to see the rise of the middle class again. There's just certain things that are not really going to happen. And so people like to get bogged down in the details of a particular politician versus another. They're not looking at the broader systemic picture, and they're not looking at the nature of democracy and politics itself as being a fake game, a false dichotomy.
Necessary to actually understand who this guy is.
So, Jordan, like I said at the start, the big issue, it seems to me, in terms of why Carney's getting more popular and why Polyev is not, is because of what's happening in America, and in particular, Donald Trump basically taking on Canada in a very aggressive way that many people think is completely ill-suited to the fact that Canada's always been a supportive neighbor. Just on that point, what do you think of what Trump has been saying about Canada in the last few weeks?
Well, it seems like it's part of whatever his broader strategy is on the tariff side, but it couldn't have possibly been more ill-timed from a Canadian perspective because, as you pointed out in your introduction, the Trudeau Liberals were headed for utter catastrophe, which was a fate they richly deserved. And now Canadians have united, and at least to some degree, and actually have started to understand, and maybe this is a salutary consequence of Trump's saber rattling, that maybe they have a country worth protecting, and that maybe our absolute dependence on the United States, which we've really fallen into, let's say in the last 30 years in particular, was a strategic...
It's like, yeah, what is the exact dumb, fake narrative that's being pushed onto the boomers that the boomers are grappling onto? Oh yeah, protect Canada. I like Canada. Yeah, fuck that Trump guy. Yeah, Mark Carney, he's a Canadian. I don't know what the fuck stupid idiot boomers are thinking when they're being lied to. I don't know what specific lie is attaching itself to the brains of these stupid cow boomers who are voting with their hearts. A bunch of idiots. I have no fucking clue, so it's kind of all irrelevant to me. It's like, yeah, there's probably a strategy where the elites are like weaponizing the tradition and cleanness and appeal to boomers of someone like Mark Carney and using anti-Trump rhetoric to get them to vote Carney. Sure. Like, Canada's fucked. That's the answer, guys. If you want to know the answer, well, TLDR, Canada's fucked. So, yeah.
Error because it left us with no cards on the table. But at the same time, what's happened is that Canadians have decided that because of how Mark Carney presents himself and because of his CV, his record, such as it is, that he's really the guy to deal with Trump. Now, Trump has already said publicly that he'd rather deal with a weak liberal than a strong conservative, speaking from his pro-American stance. But Canadians really haven't taken that to heart. You know, you can't overestimate the utility of looking the part. And Carney really is a master at that. And the liberals, the Canadian liberals are...
Yeah, he's basically saying people are stupid, but he's right. Just look the part, walk the walk. You don't need to talk, or no, wait. Talk the talk, you don't need to walk the walk. Just fucking put on the suit and say nice words and smile and present a facade of being, I'm put together, I'm a Canadian, I know what I'm doing, I'm good for the country, I'm organized. As long as you present that, you could rape children after hours. You could literally go back and diddle kids and be the most evil, Klaus Schwabian, evil, satanic person ever. And stupid idiot boomers. Oh, okay, that sounds good. Sounds good to me. Okay. Oh, he's a conservative. He's on my team. Oh, yeah, Trump. Yeah. It's just dumb idiot boomers just following whatever particular cult of personality suits them that day. Following whatever stupid slop they get on fucking CNN or Fox News. Just eating their fucking McDonald's and eating their stupid goy slop news. Just gobbling up whatever propaganda the left or the right is pushing onto them just to get them engaged into the system. Oh yeah, vote, that matters. Vote matters, guys. No, it doesn't. That's the exact lie and trap. You can't fix what's happening to your country. Look at England, look at Germany. Like, you think there aren't people in that country who want to fix it, who aren't constantly trying to fix it? You don't think the left in their own kind of like messed up way are trying to fix what they see as a corrupt system, and yet they can't fix it either? So what the fuck is happening? If we're supposed to be a democracy where the power is in the hands of the people, the left are trying to fix society, right are trying to fix society, and yet none of them can. It just steers into the worst direction, which is like elitist corruption and mass immigration and like societal rape. And there's nothing neither the left nor the right can do about it. So Yeah, this is very annoying because I just don't care about the perspective of boomers.
Are a treacherous bunch, and they will say anything to get elected. Carney has convinced Canadians that he's going to put together an effective industrial policy, and this is something that I just can't understand. Like, I read his book, Values, twice. I really tried to understand it, and there isn't anything that Carney believes more deeply than that carbon dioxide is going to destroy the world. He staked his entire soul on that proposition, and now he's telling Canadians that he's going to be the leader to turn us back into an industrial dynamo, which is kind of a 1970s.
He just sounds like someone who's drank
and Canadians are desperate
elite
to believe
Kool-Aid.
that. And then the Liberals have been extremely canny in leveraging that anti-American sentiment. And the Americans, insofar as they care about Canada, have been extremely blind and foolish in relationship to the consequences of their utterances. Like, I've used my connection network to find out what the hell is going on behind the scenes in DC. And it's pretty clear that the demolition of the Canadian Conservatives is an unintended consequence of Trump's broader strategy. And so if he would have just held off for a couple of months, and that's obviously his decision, then he would have had a much more...
Yeah, we could comment about... And that's another thing, is I'm not invested in Trump. I don't see him as this cohesive, sensible figure that genuinely cares about America. So when I see him, like, talking about annexing Mexico and Canada and Greenland, I don't know what the fuck to make of that. That makes no fucking sense. And the stupid idiot Republican, like, clowns have no clue. Okay, let me try to explain. If Trump annexes Canada and makes Canada the 51st state, does that mean that it's this Republican utopia where everything's perfect and everything's better? Or does it mean that now whatever Democrat president gets elected in 2028 now gets to control Canada? And now what you're really doing is you're just imposing some kind of a globalist structure onto countries, and you're just promoting globalism under the guise of Republican Trumpism. So Trump is really just globalizing on behalf of the globalists. Like, thanks. So this is why I'm skeptical of figureheads who, look a certain way or act a certain way, but then you look at what they're doing and you're just like, this makes no sense. I think Trump probably has ingested some really bad ideas from people around him, and he's interpreted them in a way. So here's what I think happened. I think a bunch of globalists who want to push stupid globalism got to Trump and they said, hey, you should annex Canada because they're liberal and you can save them. And so Trump thinks he's doing a favor for, like, right-wing America and right-wing people in Canada by annexing them and, like, tariffing them to death. He thinks he's doing some grand favor for everybody. It's part of his, like, giant ego trip as Trump, but really he's just playing into the hands of the elite. Nice frame, by the way. That's a really good picture of Peterson. I should put that on my wall. Like, make that my profile picture. That's pretty hilarious. Let me capture that, actually. That's fucking hilarious. What the fuck? Oh, there it is. That's actually hilarious, goddamn. One sec, sorry. I'm gonna capture this. That's way too funny. Yeah, I get frustrated because it's hard to have a meaningful discussion about politics, because it's very clear you're not getting the full picture. You're being presented a narrative for goys to eat up. You're not actually being told the truth about what's going on. So you're operating on a lot of presumptions and cynical skepticism. And it makes meaningful discussion difficult, and that's probably part of it, is they distract you with all these stupid fake narratives so that you can't get to the bottom of what's actually going on. And so yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of like meaningless boomer prattle when I hear these two talk.
Stable, reliable, productive, and intelligent country to the north. And now I'm not only afraid that Carney will win, Pierce, and the polls, especially polling markets,
he probably will win
that at the moment. I don't actually believe that the country will stay intact with another 4 to 8 years of liberal governance. I think the West the West of Canada will decide that it's had enough. And certainly the Premier of Alberta, which is our
people say that. They always say that. Look at how far the dildo has gone up the ass of places like England and Germany. Look how many inches and how much girth of dildo has gone up their ass, and they're still just like playing by the rules. And Brits are supposed to be tough. They're supposed to be heartless, knife-shiving bastards. They're supposed to be tough, and yet look how cucked they are. Look how incredibly cucked they are. So on a global comparative level, Canada still has a lot of cuckage it can endure before it snaps and goes full Third Reich, if you know what I mean. We're never going to have that. We're never going to be allowed to have some Third Reich incel revolution. It's never going to happen. Everyone keeps saying that. Everyone keeps touting it. It's like, you've gone too far this time. But everyone keeps saying it, and yet we keep going on. Just look at Australia. Look at any of these other countries and look at the amount of cuckage the amount of shaft that they're willing to endure up their backside without any kind of retaliation and without even like a political or governmental or societal collapse. Like, they haven't really collapsed, and they're doing way worse than Canada. Like, we're actually decently insulated in Canada compared to some European countries. So no, I think there's a lot. So people do this, stupid conservatives, always fear-mongering, and it's going to lead to the collapse. A liberal government will lead to the collapse of America. Just shut up. It's like a stupid speculation. You don't fucking know what you're talking about.
Very, very forthright in her objection to everything Carney does. And, the minister who was responsible for energy policy under Trudeau was literally a climate activist.
Like, it's a good policy not to just speculate and make all these grandiose claims like, Canada's going to fall apart, guys. It's so egotistical. And it's like, you don't fucking know what's going to happen in 10 years. Nobody does. Stop making all these stupid big claims to scare your audience. Just to, like, feed breadcrumbs to your conservative audience. Do lip service to the conservatives in your crowd. It's so gay.
And Carney, with his emphasis on decarbonization, couldn't be a worse enemy of really Canada's fundamental economic engine. And of course, now he's rebranded himself entirely.
Yes, Carney bad.
And as I said, he looks the part. He looks every inch the part.
He does look the part.
Canadians would like some stability
Canadians
and to
are
move away
dumb.
from the narcissistic pretender who was our last leader. But they're not going to get what they bargained for.
The IRS is the biggest collection agency in the world, and with April the 15th now fast approaching, it's more...
Okay. Taxes, nice.
15th is upon us. Act now before the IRS does it first. For 1-800-958-1000 against an idea that they would become a vassal state of the US. I mean, how damaging do you think that has been in making Canadians appreciate the real danger of the Liberals?
It's been very damaging, and this is especially true for older Canadians. Like, there's a huge age divide in voting preference in Canada, and older Canadians who lived in a stellar period of Canadian history, when all of our institutions were solid and reliable, looked to Carney to restructure the country, to return the country to its former, I wouldn't say glory.
That's so funny. It's like you have two slaves. You have one, or it's like you have two oppressive masters. One is at least put together and organized and wears a suit when they whip you and rape you. And the other one is like some crazed homeless crack addict, and they just like beat you and rape you mercilessly. And we're stuck with this crazy crack addict rapist, and we're like, please, nice, put together, stable rapist with a calm demeanor. Please take me back. Please rape me instead. I don't want to get raped by this other guy. Please let me get raped by you instead. It's like, wow, Canada, you're so cool.
Because glory isn't a Canadian concept, but productive, peaceful, predictable stability. That's not so bad, and we had that for a long time. And older Canadians believe that Carney will bring that back and that he can negotiate effectively with Trump. Younger Canadians aren't fundamentally concerned with Trump. They're fundamentally concerned with the fact that their economic future looks dismal. Like, the projections are that Canada will be the worst performing economy in the developing world for the next 40 years.
Which makes no sense. Canada has some of the best natural resources worldwide, and we have really good geography. Canada should be the richest nation on the planet. Really, like, think about it. We're next to one of the biggest... We don't have to spend anything on defense because we have the U.S. We have all these natural resources. We have water. We could have a lot more. We could have a much higher population. We have a lot of room for population growth, preferably white people, because they tend to be economic producers, not economic drains. We should be one of the richest nations, and yet we're not, merely because we're cucks. And we produce nothing.
Legacy, and the fact that we're utterly confused about how we're going to move forward on the basis of the economy that we have, which is not entirely a fossil fuel economy or resource economy, but in large part that means that there's no reason to assume that sunnier ways are coming our way. And young people are really concerned about that. That's their fundamental issue. Housing price acceleration, for example, which is made.
They're going to be dead. It's not really going to be their concern. They're going to be playing video games in their room, or they're going to off themselves, or they're going to be dead. Or they're going to be 35-year-old single cat ladies. They're just going to be gone. It's like when boomers complain about the tariffs. They're like, oh, the tariffs, it's so expensive to pay my gardener. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna become minimalist and we're gonna detach. And then you're already seeing with dating, like most people aren't dating. They're just like, yeah, fuck this shit, stupid faggotry. Like, I'm not gonna be 6'3". I'm not 6'3", so I'm not gonna get like dates on the regular. I'm just gonna get rejected by every single woman. Fuck this shit. That's most guys right now. So it's gonna lead to detachment and suicidality and disillusionment from the system. Just gonna be not even really disillusionment in like a go your own way kind of like self-aware aspect. It's just gonna be people disengaging from the traditional systems of participation, like people not buying things. Like stores are just going to run out of customers. Like legacy media is no one's going to watch it anymore. You know what I mean? It's going to be shit like that where people just stop participating in the mediums that they used to participate in, and we're just going to have a dead society. We're going to have a dead culture, and then we're just going to get overrun with like Indians.
40, let's say, despair of ever owning a house in a country that's got nothing but land to spare.
And I've still got my eyes set on Brazil. I think Brazil is going to be the number one superpower because they have all those soccer fans, right? And all those soccer fans are super awesome, economically productive, awesome people that definitely have more than $3 in their bank account. I'm counting on Brazil to be the number one world superpower.
And so the younger people aren't concerned about Trump and his saber rattling, but the older people are. And at the moment, that's enough to tilt the election quite heavily in Carney's favor. We're looking at a majority Liberal government at the moment, which is an absolute and utter reversal over the situation, even a month and a half ago. And so Trump made at least from the Canadian perspective, he made a... Go ahead, sir.
Well, I was going to ask you about, because you've been pretty supportive of Donald Trump.
Look at this tomato, dude. He looks like such a tomato.
This is a very damaging thing, I think, for what you would have preferred to happen in Canada. Looking at Trump's wider tariff war that he's now waging on, it seems, the entire planet. Some people, depending who you talk to, some people think, well, obviously this has to be done. It needs a radical new rethink. America's $37 trillion in debt.
This is the idea Trump came up with. Is like, and I kind of agree. Free trade sucks. Free trade bad. But it's like, okay, he's like, why do we really care? Like Trump sat there like an autist, and he's like, how do I? Well, it's not really an autist because he's the president of the United States. It's his fucking job. So really, this shouldn't be weird. But this is just the particular solution that Trump thinks is good, that he believes in, that, we need to tariff them so we can move production back into the U.S. It's not that profound. It's fairly straightforward.
It's been losing manufacturing hand over fist, wiping out the middle class, and so on. I can get the big picture argument Trump has been putting forward, but the way he's going about trying to achieve what he says he wants to achieve is being seen by many as incredibly disruptive, almost certainly destined to fail. What do you think of it, Jordan? We've never seen anything quite like it, but what do you think of it?
Well, we haven't seen anything quite like Trump, and so this is par for the course as far as I'm concerned.
It's such a meaningless boomer statement. We haven't seen anything quite like Trump. I hate these stupid, vague, meaningless boomer statements. And Peterson does this all the time, where he will make these vague, colloquial statements that mean nothing, but almost imply something. Like, we haven't seen anyone quite as right-wing and bold and nationalistic like Trump. That's kind of that's what your brain automatically fills in, but he doesn't say it outright, because that would kind of hold things that Peterson says to a standard. So he just kind of implies it with these like vague, and boomers do this all the time. Like, they use these vague statements to imply things without saying them out directly. Who knows why? I guess they used to get slapped on the wrist when they were clever with their speech. So maybe they use these subtle little colloquial expressions to say things, but it's kind of gay. I don't like it. And Peterson does all the time. He won't say things directly. He won't make bold claims. He'll just kind of throw ideas out there in the form of these subtle implications.
That he's doing what he tends to do, which is to set the cat among the pigeons and see what the consequence is. He's certainly put the world, and not only Canada, the world on notice that things need to shift radically. And my suspicion is that what Trump is doing, I read an interesting article yesterday in Newsweek by Mark Joseph, and he claims, and he's reasonably well informed, that Trump does in fact want to shift the tax burden away from income tax to tariffs. And I don't know enough about economic history to be a judge of that policy.
I'd be supportive.
Principle that happened, that worked 100 years ago. Does that mean
I don't really care? I don't think that makes much of a difference.
I don't think income tax is a great strategy for funding a country, and so, but that's a casual and idiotic.
I'd be fine with income tax if we didn't get taxed everywhere else. Like, if we just had a 40% income tax and nothing else, that would actually not be the worst thing ever. Like, get rid of property tax, get rid of carbon tax, get rid of capital gains tax, Get rid of like all these interests on these stupid loans. Get rid of the various little small stupid taxes everywhere, and then I wouldn't really care as much if I had to pay a higher income tax. That wouldn't be the worst thing ever.
From someone who isn't informed in such matters. But it's certainly possible that that's part of what Trump is pursuing. Another real possibility is that he's doing his art of the deal work, and he's terrifying everyone into returning to the negotiating table so that he can make a better deal for the United States, and maybe particularly for the working and middle class that he really does seem to care about. And he's putting everyone on notice that the old order is done, and we're going to make some...
This has been my perspective on Trump. Like, what's my perspective on Trump? We might have like a marginally better economy for 4 years. That's the best we'll get out of someone like Trump, is we'll have a marginally better, like 5% better economy. Oh, look, guys, I made 10,000 jobs, which is nothing, by the way, right? He'll make some jobs and marginally improve the economy. But the thing with the economy is the economy has been raped so hard over and over and over. Young Americans today are so fucked over. They'll never own a house. Everything, like burgers are like $10 now. It's ridiculous. Like, we're so fucked over that a marginal improvement is not enough. It's not worth it. And it's not going to be sustained any longer than 4 years because the stupid next Democratic president is going to come in. They're going to undo all of Trump's shit. They're going to import 10 million new immigrants that are going to steal all our jobs and drive wages down. And they're just going to kick off the whole decline again. So it's like a marginal improvement isn't enough. We need a radical reshifting and like escape from this stupid cycle of like red, blue, rapist. I'm sick of it.
And again, I don't think I'm qualified enough on the political and economic front to judge the suitability of that approach. It certainly seems to have woken up Europe, and that's something to say because Europe's been asleep for a long time, and I can't say that I'm unhappy.
Like the people who get excited from Trump, like, yeah, Trump, he's going to incite a revolution around the world. Europe's watching what Trump's doing, and they're taking notes. They're getting ready. They're getting inspired by Donald Trump. It's like, holy shit, you're so fucking gay. I want to beat you up. Like, holy shit. You sound like such a fag. People are noticing. People have had enough. And all it takes is the one American president, and Europe's going to go crazy. It's like, oh my God. Oh my God. I hate these gay conservatives. These stupid, naive, idiot, faggot conservatives. Holy fuck.
Because Europe deserves to.
Like, Trump isn't going to change anything, okay, you dumb idiot boomer. Politics have been the same. They've stayed the same. Will always be the same. They will not change. The only thing that will actually change something is somebody raising their fist and raising a gun and killing somebody. Until somebody's willing to commit violence and upturn the system in some kind of meaningful way, no meaningful systemic change will happen. And that's just something that you have to come to terms with, is if you want radical change, there needs to be some kind of a radical overturning of the current structure. It needs to be violently upheaved with force, or a strong threat of force, or with some kind of massive cultural wave of like people converting to something, Christianity, in mass, and then revolting and holding massive number, millions of people protests against the government and driving them out. Like, that's the only thing that would actually massively overturn the system. We're not just going to fix all of the corruption and all of the scheming, all the Jewish scheming in our government just by like electing Donald Trump as if he's going to single-handedly save the entire country.
Be woken up. And it is the case that the working class and the middle class in the United States has been hollowed out to some substantive degree, and people are unhappy about that. And it's going to take months or years to evaluate this particular strategy. Now, it's part of the art of the deal issue, though, as far as I'm concerned, is that Trump is
so gay,
thumping his chest and saying, we're going to take a new look at things, and I'm going to bloody well make sure that the U.S. comes out on top. And that's actually his job, and it's something.
How dare you pump your chest out and act all bold and bodacious and, you know, rambunctious and present yourself as this savior archetype when you're throwing away all our tax dollars to Israel, and you're throwing all of our economic future in the hands of other countries and private interests that are raping our country on repeat, taking all of our tax dollars, taking all of our government programs and wringing them dry for all they're worth. All the corruption and the laundering. And you're going to pretend like you're this savior. I'm here to save America. I'm here to do it. I'm here to help. It's like, and he's watching corruption, enabling it, signing legislation that enables and participates in more corruption right under his nose. It's like, what kind of stupid bullshit is this? Like, how are people so dumb? How do they think that Trump is revolting against the system when he's participating right in it? He's permitting it, watching it go by right in front of him, and he's doing nothing about it. And yet he pumps his fist and pumps his chest like he's this big superhero here to save everybody, and he hasn't done it yet. There's been no massive upheaval of the structure. It's been more or less same old, same old. Life hasn't gotten better. Bread hasn't gotten cheaper. Like, what the fuck has Trump actually done?
Something, by the way, that we have been spectacularly bad at in Canada. Our industrial policy for the last 30 years, particularly the last 10, has been backward-looking to a degree that's almost unimaginable. We've got no strategy for dealing with IP or data ownership, even though that's the entire new economy.
True.
And even if we turn back to an intelligent resource policy, that'll still mean that we're stuck in the 1970s. And so, well, that's a lot of complication. But I understand Trump's motivation, and he's certainly taken a radically pro-American stance, which is kind of what you'd want to see from a national leader. Now, I'm not very happy that it was ill-timed.
Yeah, but it's all rhetoric. It's not actually pro-America. It's all cameras and lights and show business, which is really what Trump is all about. That's what business is really all about. It's like negotiating and making a big show for the cameras to get the deal. That's what Trump is actually good at. He's good at doing SNL skits and presenting himself for the cameras, and then haggling and negotiating. That's really what Trump's good at. Very Jewish, by the way, very Jewish skill set. But anyway.
From a Canadian perspective, and the collateral damage is going to be immense. I also think, and I've tried to use my DC contacts to make this known, that the last thing Trump really needs is an international banker with WEF connections who is the UN Special Climate Envoy and who led 400...
Yeah, but Trump's working with those people, you dumbass. That's my point. It's like, oh, you don't want these evil globalists. Trump's working with Peter Thiel and, like, actual Jewish globalists every day. He's got them in his fucking cabinet. Are you dumb? Like, Trump is on their team. Like, he's pushing their agenda. Him wanting to annex these countries and talking about it and normalizing the idea of that, because that's really what he's doing. He was never actually going to do it if that wasn't already obvious to you. But he's normalizing the idea of, like, hey, what if we just annexed Mexico and called it the Gulf of America, right? He's normalizing the concept of globalization. He's working with these people. He's playing their game. He's playing into it, which is part of a negotiation is compromise, right? So he knows that, Mr. Art of the Deal. He knows that he has to compromise on his values if he's going to get anything done. And he's compromised with a few very powerful Goldenstein, Sheckelstein individuals to get his hands on power and play the game. So you're like, look out, there's evil globalists, watch out, Trump. It's like he's hanging out with them, you dumb idiot. He's having parties at Peter Thiel's house with them, like making deals to give Israel $10 billion. Like, you dumb fuck. Like, he's one of them.
International companies down the primrose path to idiot net zero policies, maneuvering behind his back and trying to undo everything Trump's done, and trying to do, say, even on the climate and industry side, behind his back with his international connections. That was not well thought through, and certainly Pierre Paul.
Like, do you think Trump needs you to tell him that? Do you think Trump doesn't already know that? Do you think Trump isn't aware of who the fuck the Canadian Prime Minister candidates are? I think he's not paying attention. Do you think Trump doesn't know about, like, elites? I think he's just unaware. He needs some stupid conservative fan to come up and tell him, oh, he's really bad. He's a globalist. He's a Fabian socialist. He's part of the round table. Like, he doesn't need people to tell him that, dumbass. Like, he knows. He's part of it. Like, you dumbass.
Is the person who's paying the price for that at
like,
the moment.
He met Epstein. Like, Trump met Epstein. You guys not know that? Elon Musk was on Epstein's island. Are you guys dumb? You didn't know that? Like, they're all part of one big giant circle jerk, and they just represent slightly deviating private interest groups. But they're ultimately all on the same, because they participate in the same ecosystem. That's what you have to realize, is if you want a bunch of money, you want power, you want a public voice, you have to play by the rules. You can't just do what Kanye does and throw up the middle finger to everyone in your space, because then you'll get ostracized. If you want to play the game at all and have any power and be allowed to have any positions of government, you have to interact with these people. You have to work next to these people. Elon Musk at Doge is walking by the secretary to the deep state. He's walking by the deep state every day, hanging out with them and going to the same dinners as them and making like defense deals and defense contracts and business deals. They're all in the same ecosystem. They all have to play together. They all have to have a certain degree of collaboration, cooperation, and civility, and like collaboration with each other if they're gonna get anything done. That's the nature of the elite. So there's no way that you could be like Trump or Elon Musk and be totally for the people and counter corruption when you're participating in their playground. This is their playground of power. If you're gonna play that game, unless you're like Kanye West and you're throwing up middle fingers everywhere and pissing everyone off constantly, then you're playing by their rules. So when you warn them about like, watch out, there's evil deep state people everywhere. Watch out, Trump. It's like, yeah, he's making deals with them every day. He's walking up to them and he's shaking hands with them and he's scratching their back a little bit so they scratch his, and that's how the world of business works, dude. Everyone's playing the corrupt game. Because if you weren't, then no one would make deals with you. No one would want to be around you. If you were truly anti-elite, anti-corruption, if you were totally Christian and had a very strong Christian moral principled backbone, you wouldn't fucking be able to play any of the games with any of these people. It's like, you don't think Trump has been to any of these sex parties? You don't think Trump has been on Epstein's Island? Are you guys all dumb? That's why we don't get the Epstein file list, is because it would have your heroes on there. It would have the people that you think are good, honest people on there. But you are dumb. They're all part of the giant same circle jerk. That's what you guys don't realize. Now, it's not always the case, but at the higher echelons, especially when it's people that are so close, like Elon Musk and Trump, working as American politicians now, American governmental actors, yeah, they're going to be crossing over and aligning with elites and deep states and globalists and quote-unquote Satanists, right? So yeah, it's just how it is. And anyway, Peterson didn't really have anything to offer. He was just very boring, scripted news bullshit, kind of useless. Didn't really hear anything insightful or that useful. Yep. Nothing really to pick on there. It was very boring, very uninteresting. I might come back and do another one, but it was... I find American politics very boring. Canadian politics even more boring. Because it's all a lie. It's all a big game of show. It's all about presentation. It's all about what facade is being presented to what particular demographic of people. And that's really what politics is. It's guess the selling point for guess the demographic, right? And that's all politics is. It's very boring, very gross, very ugly. Lots of Satanists touching children everywhere. A lot of Hollywood sexuals. And I don't like it. So let me know what you guys thought. If you think of any good content that isn't trash that I can review, send it my way. I'll have a look at it. And everybody take care.